Hey guys, good to see you. Few people already in the chat. I think I'm a little bit early, but we'll roll with it because there's a lot of stuff to do today. So gonna go through everything relatively quickly. I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter post, but I'm gonna go through whatever you guys posted on Twitter, the stuff that you wanna see. And yeah, we'll see how it goes, right? There's a lot of stuff that I've never charted before. There's a lot of Uniswap stuff that I don't particularly care much about, but I'll try my best. But there's not gonna be that much fundamental knowledge behind all of this because most of the stuff I have no idea what they're about, what they are. So I'm expecting to get a lot of hate thrown at my analysis, but yeah. Bear with me. I'm just talking about the charts. So yeah, good to see you guys. How is everyone doing? Smash that like button and subscribe, ring the bell now. It's good that someone else in the chat always does it for me, so I don't have to. But yeah, thanks for coming by. And yeah, thanks a lot to the sponsor of the show, Bybit. They sponsor the show, so we can do it weekly. And yeah, that's very much appreciated. There's stuff's in the description if you're looking for a margin trading platform. There's not that many around anymore that I'd recommend. And yeah, Bybit's doing pretty well. Fundamentals show Bitcoin skyrocketing soon. Do tell me about those fundamentals, my friend. I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, before we start with the altcoins, quick run through Bitcoin. Monthly is still at support, right? Nothing's changed. As long as this holds, Jesus, that's an ugly X. As long as that holds, we're good. Not looking too bad. Technically, still just a support resistance flip. The lack of reaction is a little bit worrying. I mean, we're already a week in. So far, no bounce, no nothing. Could mean that we're taking out the wick from previous month. Could mean that's just going to take some time. I don't know. But so far, support's holding, right? And as long as support's holding, it's not too bearish. If this fails, the next support is quite far away. The next support for me anyway, right? Some people draw the support in here in the middle of it. I don't like to do it because it's too close to this one and this shouldn't get broken, right? So if you have two supports very close by and one is more important than the other and the more important one breaks, it's very unlikely that the less important one holds. So if you kind of have a support in here, the fact why I don't have a support here is because if this one breaks, I don't expect any support right below it to hold as well. So but I mean, you could draw it differently. Some people do, some people don't. That's just how I draw this stuff, right? So far, bullish retest. We'll see how this month plays out, right? If that confirms or not. The weekly still at support. It's kind of worrying as well how this hasn't really bounced, right? We're a few days in so far, just chilling at support. But I mean, we're just following the traditional markets, right? So nothing too surprising there, but still at support. Wouldn't want to see that get broken. That'd be the first indication that we might be heading lower instead of higher. And then I think the best time frame to watch right now, even more so because we have like no volatility whatsoever right now, is the daily time frame. Range high around 11k, range low at 10.5. So any of those get broken. I mean, this one isn't too important. If this breaks, still have the range low down here, but I don't think it should go back down there if it's truly bullish. So this would be the first warning sign if this gives out. I mean, there's not that much support in my opinion until, I don't know, like down here. Loomdot, for example, is looking for something like this, as far as I know. And then a moon. I mean, you could kind of play the wonky ass head and shoulders from like a head and shoulders here into one like this. Not entirely convinced, but we'll see when we get there, right? If it somehow holds this 10 area again, like if there's some mysterious buyer again, like I mean we've had this in here. If that happens on the right side again, I mean I'll just trade with that. I mean that's what I noticed back here, that there was someone just buying everything up, and I mean it turns out it was MicroStrategy, right? If that happens again in here, then yeah, we'll have to kind of watch out for it, see if there's stupid buying going on. If it is, I mean, makes sense to follow the money, right? If there isn't, like if this breaks and you don't get a mysterious buy again, I think there's a long way down. So that's kind of where you should be looking. I think this support, if that fails, this support, just because it's been so important recently, and this resistance. If this resistance gives, I think there's a good amount of upside to be had, because then this entire breakdown would be a shakeout, right? Would look like one anyway. So yeah, those are the two most important areas to watch right now, because let's say 11K breaks, the high time frames are going to align, right? And the same thing with 10.4. If 10.4 or 10.1 breaks, the high time frame is going to swap back bearish. So yeah, if for the people that are kind of like looking for the spam in the chat, whatever, like if you're trying to get your coin charted, if you spam it, I'm definitely not going to look at it. Just warning you guys before I start with the coins, because like you're ruining the chat experience for pretty much anyone else. So if you want to like have a chart, a coin charted or anything charted, really post it once, and then I mean if I overlook it, just post it again 10 minutes after. Okay, that's Bitcoin. We'll go. What we're gonna do, given I've have this list on Twitter already, we'll just go through that and then we'll do the chat afterwards. So yeah, I'll start with this just based on the fact that people have actually spent their time posting on Twitter. So yeah, Grins, Zcash, and Stake are the first ones we're gonna look at. Grin, an interesting one. Grin's actually one that I've been following just based on the fact that Litecoin Mimimble's coming out, right? So that's based on Grin. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be some bullish stuff happening there. Tried to get filled, OTC didn't happen. Tried to get filled on exchanges, didn't happen. So yeah, I was actually sitting there trying to get filled literally here. I couldn't manage to. Not based on the chart though, because the chart looks absolutely hideous, just based on the fundamental thing. So I was waiting to buy this, trying to buy it, didn't get it. So now I'm just sitting there, not sure what to do. I don't think I'm gonna market buy it anymore. So yeah, generally speaking, Grin, I mean, this is just like, it's been going down pretty much forever. The one thing, and that's basically because you have Grin's pretty inflationary, so you have a lot of new Grin entering, miners just keep dumping, and you don't really have that much demand. So that's what this leads to, right? If you take it off log, I mean, you can kind of see how nasty this drop has been. There's not really that much to say about the chart. Like if you're looking at it from a charting perspective, you could say this is the range low, roughly here. This is the range high, right? So if you get back in here in a sustained way, right, not just wick in it, but actually trade in here, go sideways maybe, or even take out the range high, that kind of be an early signal that maybe the trend has shifted. Until that happens, it's still bearish. Problem with these kind of coins is that you can't even buy like a Bitcoin of it without pushing price up like 10%. So yeah, pretty hard to do anything really. Like if you want to get into position, that's kind of the advantage that smaller people have, like smaller sized accounts. Like if you're trying to trade this stuff, you can get in and out. And if one bigger account buys it, you're already up like 20-30%, while you don't have problems getting in and out like they do. Like if you buy 2 Bitcoin worth of this, gonna push price up stupidly high, just because no one's selling, no one's buying. It's just low volume, right? But yeah, if it gets back in here, there's some narrative to play, but so far chart still looks pretty bad. Next one was Zcash. I think we've talked about that before. That's the wrong chart. Where's my good old Zcash? There it is. So I've charted this last week, so we can just kind of talk about what I said last week. I said if it starts closing above red, that's a go. So far it's not. So far we've had this kind of range breakout to the upside, ended up as a bearish retest. Now we're kind of retesting this area again, getting rejected again. So that could be another bearish retest. As long as that is in the way, I don't think it makes much sense to look on the long side. I mean, at support, yes, like if you bought this support, fine, right? You know exactly where your invalidation is, because you really don't want to see it go back into this range. So if you bought down here, that's fine. If you're buying into resistance, I mean, it's probably a bad idea. Even more so given that there's only like 10 to 20% between where price is right now and where it would be a confirmed breakout. So not too big of a fan right now. But then again, like we've had some privacy coin movements recently. XMR has mooned. Even though like I sold that as well. So yeah, for people that are looking at that, I sold that a while ago, but I mean, it's still going. But yeah, I sold that. I think it was this day, this day. It's a while ago. Fucking days are shifting. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But yeah, I think it was this day, but this price level anyway. It's above that now. Like XMR looks pretty good, honestly. Like I see a technical reason to be bearish XMR. The next resistance all the way up here. I just de-risked pretty much everything all at once. And XMR was one of the ones that I could have held, I think. But yeah, that's the kind of charts I'm looking for. This is obvious strength while everything else is suffering. XMR still looks excellent. I mean, if this starts dipping, I might go back in it. Generally speaking, don't mind it all. So yeah, XMR is good. Like that's the difference, right? If you look at the charts, like this clearly broke out of the range, right? And if you compare it to Zcash, broke out of the range, fell back into it, and it's now like looking super weak. So either Zcash is kind of showing how XMR is gonna play out, or it's just Zcash, like people don't want to buy Zcash and they want to buy XMR. I don't know. Just based on the chart, Zcash has to do more. And what was the next one? Stake. Now it's like starting to go down the rabbit hole. I think Stake's not on. It is. Oh, jeez. So Stake had this semi-range up here, right? And that broke to the downside. And it's now, I mean, we can look at it's not even on the 3-day anything there. Like that's why I hate charting these coins, because it's pretty difficult to find important areas. But yeah, I mean, this entire thing is pretty important, right? The moment this gives and rolls over, this entire thing goes into almost negative price discovery, right? So this has to hold. I mean, it's doing so right now, but it's still looking pretty ugly. But yeah, as long as this is support, it's fine. If it starts trading below here, I think that'd be worrying. But then again, like it's not a coin that I trade. Maybe these kind of coins tend to fake out. I don't know. But yeah, I'd be looking for a reaction in here. and then next resistance is up here. And I mean, these coins, the funny thing is, like, if you're talking about these Uniswap, whatever, all these new coins that you have nowadays, they can rug pull at any moment, right? So you never know if you're having, like, if these levels even matter, because I mean, if you're getting rug pulled, you're getting rug pulled. But yeah, this is support. It's pretty good support too. So far it's been 1-2 push down, right? Oftentimes you get like 1-2-3, like something like this. Maybe find a reaction off of the bottom here and then go down, go up. But yeah, like technically it broke down from range, and as long as that's reclaimed, that's bearish. But it's at support right now, so I mean, if you like the project and you're looking for buys, this kind of area is a good one, I think. And then if it breaks down, might be time to de-risk. The Litecoin Mimblewimble 6 months to 1 year away. Yeah, I know, but it's like starting to heat up. So, I mean, I'm in the test group for it. Everyone can get there, so it's nothing special. But yeah, whenever you have that kind of stuff, the rumors start heating up, people start positioning. If the market's like, that's the thing, right? When you have a narrative, you have the chart, right? You have the chart, you have a narrative, right? Oftentimes, when you have a good looking chart, right, something that's kind of brewing something, like, for example, in this case, if this was longer time frame, right, you have this kind of coiling up. Doesn't really, like, people would call this rising wedge, whatever, doesn't really matter, right? But when you have like a long-term coiling up of price, and then you get a narrative injected to it, then you get good movements. When you have a bad looking chart and you get a narrative injected into it, a good one anyway, you oftentimes get something like, you have this chart that's flat down forever, you get a narrative, you get a pump, and people are like, holy shit, finally I can get out. And then it just starts bleeding out again. So when you have like stuff that's already been in accumulation, that looks good, so you don't have too much floating supply anymore, right? That's why these kind of patterns work, right? People keep buying, and then a narrative shows up, and people start market buying, and then it goes up. The question is, and I mean, you could even add like a third thing, which is like general market. Because that's really important for crypto as well. So you have these kind of three things, right? So, okay, are altcoins as a whole bullish? Is that particular chart bullish? And then you have the narrative, right? So, for example, with the uni stuff, right? For like the last few weeks, you had the entire uni market bullish. The charts were looking good. And then you had the narrative come in as well, where people are like, DeFi is the next big thing, right? And then you have all three aligned, and then you get big pumps. Now, like, the narrative is kind of slowing down for a lot of these DeFi stuff, because people are actually realizing that there's like mostly crap out there. And then the narrative is slowing down. That kind of shits on the entire market as a whole, and then the charts look shitty. So it all plays together, right? But yeah, you can't just only look at the chart or only look at the market as a whole. Like, if you look at the market as a whole and you just buy something randomly, and it's the one thing that has a shitty chart, you're gonna get you're underperforming the market most likely. So, and the best thing to watch out for, I think, when the entire market is bullish, is the narrative. So if you get like any kind of coin and you get like a really good narrative going, then you can have nice pumps. But yeah, so this not too interesting to me, but yeah, it's at support, so we'll see how it plays out. Should I take like a few from the chat, like in between, just so you guys don't feel left out? I think I'll do that. I was just about to pick dot from the chart, from the chat, and then I see this guy asked for dot. So let's do dot. This is actually one that's usually charted against USDT or whatever. We'll go with Bitcoin for now. So same kind of situation. This actually bounced from the lower box, right? But it's kind of, this is a similar looking chart as the one before, where you have this, I mean, this is a shitty range, but it's kind of interesting, right? So you get consolidation in here. Let's actually box this up so it's easier to see. You get consolidation in here, a breakout, people get super bullish, and then a massive rejection, right, into support. You bounce, and then you find resistance back at this consolidation. That works that way because people are bought in here just trying to get out break even, right? A lot of the time anyway. And people that bought down here are like, okay, where are these people gonna sell? I mean, this is the most obvious spot to sell. So, I mean, technically, this entire thing here is the range. But the fact is, you've had this lower test once, second test here, third test here, and then it failed to materialize any sort of bounce, went to the lower area. So in my opinion, what this would have to do to kind of turn bullish would be to get back out here, right? You don't want to stick, like this is support, yes, but you don't want to stick in support too long because technically this was good support up here and that broke to the downside. So now you have a lot of people in here underwater that want to get out. And I mean, if the market doesn't turn bullish as a whole, you're just gonna, like, that's just gonna overwhelm buyers, right? So what you want to see is this get reclaimed. Until then, I wouldn't touch it, just based on the fact that it's tested this area so many times. And the market as a whole, like the altcoin market as a whole, isn't looking too good. So yeah, use dot on OKX, please. Fine by me. Then again, like Cred would say, yeah, it doesn't really change anything. Jesus, that looks even worse. Yeah, the chart before applies. So yeah, I would want to see. I would want to see that get reclaimed. It's probably .USDT that has longer price history. Where is it? There. Lol. Fucking hell, dude. That was the... that's why they repriced it. It's not like people dumping, that's repriced. But it fucked up the chart. Okay, so DOT went over it. Would want to see it reclaim stuff before getting bullish on it. Okay, let's see the next one. Uni. I saw a lot of people asking in the chat about Uni as well. So we'll go over Uni. That makes most sense against USDT, so we'll go with that. Jesus Christ. So with Uni, right? You got Uni listed. I hate when this happens. Someone ruined the chart. So you got Uni listed, right? And everyone got it for free, basically. And then you had a lot of people just buy that shit up, right? A lot of traders were like, okay, this is not dumping, I'm jumping on board. And we had this rally, right? So what happened is that the people that immediately sold their Uni in here started getting FOMO because they were like, oh shit, decided to take the free Uni that they got, that they converted into ETH or Bitcoin or whatever, and just buy it back into this rally. So you got like a FOMO rally. I'm pretty sure that got distributed in. I mean, you just have to look at the chart, right? And this kind of ugly chart is the result of that. I mean, technically broke down any supports, not really any support left. And I mean, yeah, I know that this resistance that would have to get broken for this to be bullish is like ages away. But I wouldn't want to risk anything before that, honestly. Because what you now have is like you have back holders from up here. You have like the entire DeFi space slowing down a little bit. So, I mean, I'm just not interested before this shows any strength. And I mean, we've had this sign of strength when it got listed, where people bought it up. That was a nice move. Would have to see the same thing again. Until that happens, like just from like a technical standpoint, it would have to reclaim this, which is super far away, and people will say, yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna buy it when it goes like up 40%. But I'm willing to pay that premium in that case, because I've seen these charts plenty of times, and I could see this go down 90% easily off of something like this. And then I'd feel like an idiot buying here to sell it here if I could have bought it down at like $1, and then it's never gonna come back to 4, or like in ages come back to 4. So I'm not touching this. If you're still holding, I mean, I don't know what to say, because yeah, it's technically retesting the area where everyone, like where the traders and everyone, like a lot of people that I knew accumulated this. So you had this accumulation floor in here, led to the rally up, and then this entire thing bled down, and it really didn't find any support where they bought previously. So people went risk off, didn't want to have anything to do with it, and now we're kind of retesting it from the other side. So even on the low time frames, I think you'd have to at least take out 3.4, 3.5. But then again, like if you want to wait for 3.5, why not wait for 4 and then play it to 6, right? So if it reclaims this, play it into this resistance. If it doesn't, I mean, I'd be looking for the 80-90% retrace, as always. Like with altcoins, there's some weird magic going on where you always get like these 80-90% retraces. That's what I've been looking for Link. That's what I've been looking for a lot of other altcoins. So, yeah. And the good thing with the altcoins, right? And a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but you have like 7,000 altcoins, right? You have one Bitcoin, and then you have 7,000 of the rest, even more nowadays. So let's say you miss uni. There's going to be 7,000 other coins that you can look at that might pull the same thing again, right? So, I mean, I don't think you should have any FOMO in the altcoin space. The only thing that you should be looking for is kind of like good technical setups that you can play that have the risk in your favor while the market is doing good. And I mean, if you think back to what Gainsey said when we had him as a guest, he pretty much said the same thing, right? Look for risk on and then bet on it. So far, like, I don't think we're in a risk on situation, but I could be wrong, right? And I'm going to be wrong about 4, and then that's going to take price to 6, I think. Sushi is a good example. Sushi is comparable. Yeah. I mean, sushi is even worse, I think. Like, why would you want to have sushi if you can have Uniswap? Oh. We can look at sushi real quick, but I think that looks even worse. Jesus. That's brutal, man. That is brutal. Yeah. I mean, that's just non-stop selling. So, yeah. I mean, I made the joke with Loomda at like $3. Don't buy week-old sushi because it's gonna go bad. I expected it to dump. I didn't expect it to dump this hard, honestly. So, look at Don knowing all the DeFi coins. I don't, man. I don't. I mean, I know like the bigger ones, and I know how they work at least a little bit. But most of the smaller ones, I mean, not interested. I don't know anything about it. Don doesn't feel good today. Can hear from his voice. Jesus, people are detectives. I had to get up super early this day, like today, to get like some documents in order. Had to go to the city, get stuff signed and whatever. So I had to get up early. Not feeling bad, just a little bit tired. So yeah, this dumped quite hard. Someone asked about something else. Banned. Okay, you asked for banned, you shall receive it. Banned BTC. Oh shit. That's actually a coin that's been uptrending, huh? But that's like the crazy part. Even the good looking coins starting to look kind of shitty. In this case, right, whenever I see this structure, with like good looking coins, right, I expect something like this, a lower high, and then just complete destruction. That might be my inherent bearish bias on altcoins. But yeah, this is good support. I could see quite the bounce happen from there if there's any fuel left. But I'd be looking for an exit in here. And probably, I think, like even looking on the lower time frames, I'd probably look for an exit down here. Like let's say this dumps into weekly support. Let me actually put this onto the daily time frame. Right? So we're looking, this dumps into weekly support, right? In here. Capitulates somewhat and then pulls like a miraculous recovery. I'd be looking to sell into these highs all the way up to here. And then if it keeps going, right? Like I said, I'm not married to any of this. But yeah, that's kind of like the extent to which I would play it. It's almost like that's from here to here. If you're like super greedy, I think you take it to there. If you're a long-term believer, I mean, that's a good support level to load up on. But if this rolls over, right? And we've had this with altcoins before. If this rolls over down here, this is almost certainly gonna just full retrace. So whenever you see something like this, right? I mean, there's an opportunity there to long. But if that rolls over on you, you get the fuck out. And sometimes this happens and then it bounces. And then you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have gotten out. But like most of the time when it starts rolling over, you're just lucky to get out. Because if you look at other stuff that has rolled over like this, and I mean, there's pretty much any other coin, yeah, you'd be happy to have gotten out. Like it starts rolling over, right? And then breaks support. I mean, there's not really any support in here, but you get the point, right? It starts rolling over, turns support into resistance, whatever, and then you're in for a world of pain. And this is how altcoins go. And then you can look at the low time frames. Oh, you're gonna think like, oh shit, this guy's super bearish everything, but so far it's just been bearish charts. There's some actually bullish charts out there, but yeah, in here, for example, this is a good one. It's the same thing, right? You have in the middle of the rally, you have a consolidation, that's support, right? So you dip into it, and then you bounce, and then the first resistance that you get to, in this case, got sold into. So what was the coin again? Banned, right? Banned BTC. So in this case, first support, and this is a little bit more high time frame based. First support, and then first resistance. Technically on this time frame is this one, but I'd go off of it from lower time frames. So be up here. I assumed you were moderately stoned. No. Not today. I generally don't smoke too much. So yeah, that's banned. We'll go over Wi-Fi real quick because I've been covering that on Twitter. Look at that, how beautiful. So yeah, that's the same situation as banned, really, if you think about it, right? So on the way up, there was this consolidation. That's now acting as support. And we're bouncing from support. There's a good chance we actually, I mean, this could even, like in a bullish sense, this could range in here and then start breaking out. The play that I had in mind, like shorting here to support, was fully realized, right? So I wouldn't be bearish into the support. And the good thing is, like, YFI is kind of the poster child of altcoins right now. A lot of volatility, a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity. So if this bounces, the entire altcoin market might take a little bit of a breather, right? But yeah, if this breaks the support, holy shit, we're in for some trouble. But yeah, we're at support, and the first resistance would be in here. So if you're like conservative and you want a long, like if you look at this chart, right, you should be bearish, generally speaking. So you could technically just wait for short setups. This was one of them, support breaking. I like this one better. Just rally into, like, have a massive bubble pop pretty much. Bounce from support back into resistance. I usually just like to take these. And then you just look at it from a bearish lens, right? You take it from here to support, take it off. It breaks through that. You add it on, back on again, take it to support, right? And if you're looking at it from a bearish lens, you would wait here, see it bounce into this, or maybe even into the range high again, and then you would want to go back to shorting, right? If you're a bull and you like the project, this is the area to long. And if it breaks, yeah, we're in for some shit. I don't remember how bullish altcoin looks like anymore. I mean, it's not only you, man, but this looked pretty bullish. This looked pretty bullish in the past. I mean, we could just do this, right? Holy shit, that's a bullish chart, dude. And that's the thing with these altcoins, right? I mean, this is not a bearish chart. The chart becomes bearish later on, and you don't have much time to flip from this being super bullish to this being super bearish, right? That said, you did have like a reaction here. That's fine. It's a pullback. Marginally higher high. That's fine still. And then you had this complete breakdown, right? You even got it close below this. This is where I started to be like, okay, Wi-Fi is probably fucked. And then you look for rallies to sell into, right? When you get that kind of formation. Or if you're long, I mean, if you're long this, right? And people are like, oh, I sold the all-time high. I mean, yeah, but what made you sell that, right? I think that's a worse place to sell, in my opinion, than in here, right? In here, you have evidence. You know, okay, there's something going on. Chart's pretty weak. We actually, like in a bull market, right? When you have something go up, what happens in this on lower time frames is you have this go up, put in a consolidation, go up, and then sometimes it retests that consolidation in here, right? And then it goes up. What you don't want to see is any kind of support get retested twice. So even if you have something like this, it goes down a little, it goes up. This is the more traditional kind of sense, right? Where it just steps up. This is fine, right? But the moment you start retesting this twice is where you could see trouble coming. And I mean, this looks like a head and shoulders. Like in crypto, whenever you see this, like the high with a marginally higher high go back to the support here, you know that there's a possibility that the meme's gonna play out. So what you do is you wait for it to be bearish in here. And that's literally like, this is the poster child of that kind of, you have a support get tested twice, which you don't want to see in a raging bull market. And then you have the thing find resistance at resistance, which, I mean, makes sense, right? I mean, if you could say resistance obviously acts resistance, but in like a raging bull market, it doesn't, right? In a raging bull market, like even if you get the double test here, you don't find resistance here. You just blast through. But generally speaking, you wouldn't even double test the support like that. EM is spamming, asking for something. Sorry, bro. I said at the beginning, like if you're spamming something, I'm not gonna look at it. So, not gonna look at it. Unless someone posted it in here, in which case I might. So yeah, next one, RVX. Never heard of that before. Should I know that? Nope. So let's... The fuck? Okay, whatever, bro. Whatever you have there, my friend. Not even my trusty tool knows it. So we'll go do the next one. Stake. I guess this is what you're asking for. Jesus Christ, these charts are kind of crazy. Yeah, it looks fucked. I mean, sorry, bro. I mean, it's just decency, right? If you think about it, like people have like conversations in there, and then you just shout a chart name. It's kind of rude to do. But yeah, so we have stake here, and that just looks fucked. Holy fuck! But it's the same situation. Like in the end, it's the same situation as. It's kind of funny how these all are similar. Where it's at the first support, right? But really, like if it was bullish, should have bounced here. I hate how this looks. Let me actually change the color to white. That works. So should have bounced there, right? Retest support, should have bounced there, didn't. Or I mean, it did a little bit and then just started breaking down again. This is the same case where I would like to at least see it go back up here, and then you could play the inverse head and shoulder meme. Hope that holds, right? Like let's say this reclaims here. You can try to get like a long position there with like a stop loss there, and then wherever you want to, like, let's say take it to the high again, right? That works, but it would have to reclaim that as support again. And it honestly looks kind of shitty. I don't know how much that is down. Yeah, 75%. That's already like a bubble pop and a half in there. It's kind of crazy how quickly these have gone. Then again, like it's up a shitload from the lows still. So still up 1.1k%. So the thing is, like, you have a lot of people that are still able to dump on you. But yeah, just looking at the chart, as long as you get that reclaim, that's fine. And then I think that's fine to take. And then you can hope it breaks this resistance. Let me actually see how much that would be. If that's like any... Yeah, it's still not bad, right? Who knows how low this goes, right? But I wouldn't want to blindly buy it before it does anything bullish. Stake I already did. Ah, good to know. Fuck. You already shut it. Damn. my short-term memory is shit. Hate we already did, I think. Did we do hate? But yeah, I mean, it still applies, right? I was like, oh shit, this looks similar. And then it turns out to be the same thing. Fuck me. SPA, this we for sure haven't done yet. And I'm pretty sure it's not on TradingView. So we'll go, the fuck. I don't think that's it. Weed fucks up the memory. Dude, I haven't taken any weed this month. Or the last month either. I haven't taken weed in a long time. Yeah, that's stocks. That's what I figured. The moment I saw that, it's like, okay, it looks like a stock. I'm not gonna go over that. Sorry, bro. Oh shit. Why are people like putting in... Is that a stock as well? I don't even know. It isn't. Nice. It's on KuCoin. Jesus. The KuCoin stuff I wouldn't touch. Is this on anything else? That's on Bitrex. Nice. So we'll go. How the fuck this looks? Why does this look so different? What's up with that? Tell me. Like, what is this? These small shit coins. Fucking with me. It's. Oops. Drag BTC. What the fuck's that difference? Yeah, I know that hackers stole the funds of KuCoin. It's just kind of like, the fuck is this? Sorry for swearing so much. When I get tired, I get unfiltered. So yeah, in this case, it's just a KuCoin coin. Right? I bet that 90% of the volume wasn't KuCoin, so I'm just not gonna touch it. I mean, if people are like hacker stole funds, whatever, I'm not gonna touch it either because I know that it can get dumped on. I don't know if people already dumped, like if the hacker already dumped this coin or not, but yeah. Probably trading stopped. Yeah, that might be it. Let me see. Yeah, it's trading stopped. So that makes sense. I should have had that in my mind. Today's not my wisest day. But yeah, I can't really say much about this chart given, I mean, it's hard to call, right? It depends on fundamentals more than anything. Depends on the hacker doing stuff. It depends on a lot of things. Like, that's not something I can make a call on. XTC, of course, we'll talk about XTC. And I mean, that looks pretty shit. That looks pretty shit. So what you have here, right, is a range. And for the people that haven't been around for a longer time, let me point out another range that we had in the past. That looked similar. Right, so high time frame range, you can even go on the 3-day or whatever. It's easier to see what I'm talking about. Let me actually open this on something that doesn't have that stupid. Jeez, all these. Is there any exchange that didn't have a scam wick? That's better. So, another one of these. Can't escape it. So in this case, you have this high time frame range, right? And in this case, you have this high time frame range. And this broke down, and Litecoin's been trending down ever since. It's just kind of spooky. Like, this just reminds me of Litecoin. I could see this completely dump back down again, like this did. So, yeah. Not a fan. Like, whenever I see something like this, like a range top, that's so rare and so bearish until, like, let's say this reclaims, right? That's bullish. Like, if you get a reclaim, this is clearly bullish. But I'd be surprised if that happened. And 2, I'd be more than happy to pay up for that. Because then it's a bullish setup. It's easy to see, okay, I'm going to take this long here, have my stop here, and that's going to take more than the range high. But even if you just take it to the range high, that's a nice setup to take, right? And you can even have your stop loss tighter, because the moment this reclaims, it should stay above there. If it starts bleeding out and starts closing down here, I mean, you get out, right? So your risk isn't this large. But that said, like, this is a range top, and that's bearish to me, and that's very, very bearish to me until it reclaims the range. And I mean, if you think about it, if this is distribution, which it looks like right now, you've had 200 days of distribution. So this downtrend is going to end, and then you're probably going to get like at least 100 days of accumulation again. So that's not something that I wanna get unless it reclaims. And I mean, really, what you're paying up for, like 20-30%. Like, I pay those 30% in a heartbeat. If I have to pay 30% to avoid this risk of like going down 50% more, I'm more than happy to take that. Someone asked about BNB. BNB actually, yeah, we talked about BNB last week or the week before. BNB is actually one of the ones that looks strong. So if people are like, oh, Don, you just bearish on everything that we said. I mean, this is one of the ones that I don't mind as long as it can hold this range, right? So range breakout into retest into move up, right? So far that's not bearish. As long as it can hold this green line, I don't see a reason to be bearish on it. If it starts breaking down into this, I could see an undershoot of that range and then go back into it, whatever. But unless that happens, right, I'm not bearish on it. So let's say you bought the range low. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell here. Doesn't make much sense to take profits here, in my opinion. And if I was bullishly inclined, I mean, this is a good looking chart. So if I was looking for an altcoin long, BNB would be the one that I'd be looking at, or like XMR would be one of the ones that I'd be looking at. Like those are the good looking charts, right? You don't want to be stuck in something that looks pretty bad. You want to be looking for strength, and this is one of the ones that are showing strength. Hello, was Link covered? Nope, we haven't covered Link. We'll do it later. XMR top or not? I don't think so. We talked about this earlier. Tell, I know it's going down, but I just want to be told. So that's a good one. Okay, we'll go and look at Tell. Oh shit, it's not the KuCoin one. Yeah, I mean, this is nothing I can talk about as much as I'd like to. Like, this is the range low technically, right? This is the range. It's a KuCoin coin. This is a really clean range if you think about it. Like, that's a really clean range. So I mean, if you're playing this range, and I've done this in the past, right, with altcoins. Let's say I like this coin. I don't know anything about it, so it's hard for me to say. But if I like this coin, right, I try to play this range as often as I could. So buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance. And how I used to play this, and I mean, the market space is a little bit different. But what I used to do is I would allocate a certain amount of money into this, which I was fine with going to zero, right? So let's say you're super bullish altcoins, you're super bullish this coin. Put in, I mean, back in the day I went Deegen on it, but let's ignore that and do some reasonable numbers, right? Like, let's say or like even Deegen still, but like not as Deegen as I did back then. And you put in like 1% or 2%, right? You have a couple of altcoins, this is one of them, and you have like 1% of your trading capital or whatever in it that you're fine with going to zero. Or even if you have like a stop loss, you can even make it more. But you get the point, right? A reasonable amount, whatever that reasonable amount is to you. Some people have higher risk appetite, some lower. So we don't even have to talk about the percentages really, because that's individual. But yeah, what I used to do is I just try to buy support in here, sell resistance, and then I would have made money on this, right? And I want to accumulate. So I mean, you can barely, like, altcoins are really hard to short in general. So this strategy works better when you're trying to accumulate. So you're playing the range. Now you have more Bitcoin than you started with, right? This goes back down. You buy in more, just based on the fact that you made some on this trade and you're willing to get more in. So you buy more, take off more. Obviously not just everything back in it, but you get the point, right? So you're accumulating the position while trading the range, and then you're trying at some point to time the breakout, right? That used to work really well for me in 17. The fact is, we've kind of been in a downtrend for ages. So accumulating stuff that just keeps on going down is a pretty bad way to go about it. But if you have anything that you really like, right? And I think, for example, you can play Bitcoin that way. You have Bitcoin, you have a nice range, and you want to have money in Bitcoin, and you don't really care, like if it goes down, you can deal with that, and then you just play these and just increase your exposure to Bitcoin that way. Kind of works. Only works if you like the coin, if you like whatever, and they're completely fine with holding it, and you're pretty sure it's not going to zero. Which, I mean, I had in 17, I was pretty sure wasn't going to zero. Nowadays, with the altcoins, not so sure anymore. But like, for example, with Dogecoin, right? It's kind of how I've played Dogecoin over the years. I bought Dogecoin here, and I bought Dogecoin here, and I was pretty poor back here. So I bought not that much. I bought way more in here. So I bought here, sold on the way up. I don't think I nailed the top on this one. Back then I wasn't even charting much. I just bought here, saw it bubble, sold into the bubble, right? And then I had way more money, and I was like, this is not going to zero. I don't think it is. And I bought more here. And then I sold again into the pump. And technically speaking, now way later, if I bought, like the next time I'm going to buy Dogecoin, which is going to be down here, my position size is going to be bigger just because my portfolio is bigger, right? So technically I did the same thing with Dogecoin. Just trade the range, increase your position, like in general. But yeah, it's not for everyone. And if you are afraid of like it going to zero, it's going to be impossible to hold, obviously. Doug needs to add Elliott wave to his TAR. I'm not a big fan. But I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, right? It's just not something I do. But yeah. Okay. Atom. Okay, we'll go over Atom real quick. I'm not gonna be able to do all of these. I'm just gonna do them next week, I think, the ones that I've missed. This been chopping a shitload, holy fuck. Yeah, support did what it was supposed to do. This really, like, whenever I see something like this, like it acts as resistance, you get rejected, it breaks through, doesn't act as support, like, I just disregard this level. I wouldn't want to trade it in this cluster. You can keep the level, right? And then let's say this breaks out to the upside and comes back in here. Then you know there's probably gonna be a reaction in here. So at a later date, this level is gonna become important again. Let's say it sponsors here, breaks down here. There's a good chance that it's just gonna play out like something like this, right? If it plays out bearishly, where you're gonna find resistance here and then it goes down, right? But at this point, you know, okay, this level's been chopped to hell. I don't want to be taking that level and trade off of it. Could also be that you're just taking the wrong level because there's another one here that hasn't been as accurate in here. But given that it's not been chopped through, it's likely that maybe you find support here, resistance here. But I mean, this is just a chart that's chopped to bits. I wouldn't want to trade that. Maybe it's better on the USD pair. Yeah, and then you can see why it's been chopped, because the USD pair is pretty clear. So when you see chop, maybe change the pair or just don't trade it. But in this case, the USD pair looks pretty good. Like it's not been chopped, it's been pretty clear, right? Resistance here, dips, breaks out, finds support here. Yeah, technically at support, you really don't want to see the support get lost, because this is the same as I talked about earlier. When you have a support up here that is really meaningful, and you have one here that's good, but not as good as the one above. Let's say this breaks down here and it closes below it. You technically have support here, right? But it's way too close to the support. So I wouldn't want to be involved in that, because if it breaks down here, probably gonna find support, resistance somewhere in there and then go down, right? But yeah, this doesn't look too bad, technically. Technically, this is one of these where you have a dump into full recovery, into pump, into retest. This chart, right? So far nothing bearish there. But you obviously, like, this went sideways here before there. You obviously don't want to see this get lost, this area. Because if it does, turns into resistance, you have a shitload of people trapped up here. And there's obviously going to be people, I don't know if there's people in the chat already saying there's longer history somewhere else. I'll just front run that. But yeah, I think that's the same kind of deal, even on Binance, right? And if you want to play this, right, and want to play it tight, as in you don't want to shoot for the moon, you just want to take a trade setup, I mean, there's support, this resistance, right? This was the shakeout. So technically, you really don't want to go below this again, because if it does, it's probably going to close back below this area. So stop somewhere in there. TP somewhere in there, right? That's like a trade setup that I take if I was bullish on altcoins or in general was just looking for an altcoin trade. I think this is one of the stronger ones as well. So like when you have this kind of stuff, right? And I can remember it for the coins that I like anyway. But when you go through the charts like I am right now and you see, okay, this is one that looks stronger, this is one that looks weaker. You write that down. And then when you get the feeling or like any kind of indication, oh, I want to long altcoins, you go back, look at your list, you made a pretty list. You're like, okay, these coins showed strength. I want to be long altcoins, these showed strength. So I'm going to be looking for positions in there, right? You don't want to be caught off guard and not have any plan the moment you see, okay, people are switching risk on, like taking more risk on or whatever, like let's say the election's over, the markets kind of calm down, which I don't think they will. It's probably going to go crazy after elections as well. But in general, when you think, okay, this should be an altcoin window, you don't want to be stuck somewhere not knowing what to do, right? So write the altcoins down that you think are strong. And then when you think altcoins in general should be strong, you look at that list and you go from there. I cannot place Don's accent, Northern Europe. It's German, actually. But I've been told my accent's kind of weird. Not German, not really. Like, it's obvious I have an accent, but it's not really obvious where I'm from. But I don't know. I can judge it. Like, for me, yeah, I don't know. I don't like listening to myself in general. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but it just kind of sounds weird. I sound very different in my own head than I sound on video. So I try to avoid listening to myself. Now you sound German. Fuck. Can't get rid of the accent. But yeah, that's fine. Like some people like it. I've gotten compliments before. Some people hate it. It's fine too. Oh, jeez. Now a lot of people are saying, yeah, very obvious German. So can't hide it. Could you check WeChain, please? Of course. Just because you asked so nicely. So WeChain. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. This is one to watch, I think. So this, whenever you see something like this, you're like, this broke down and you're like, holy shit, this looks terrible, right? And yesterday it looked terrible. But what it did on the higher time frames, it dipped into range high. That's fine. And it's technically still closed above support here, right? So this is the support to hold, obviously. So these two red lines, right? That's where it has to hold. And I mean, you might ask why, right? I mean, in my opinion, it's pretty obvious because if it breaks it, that just starts looking like it's just going to bleed back out. If it holds it, you have this inverse head and shoulder setup. It's an ugly one, I know, but like that's strong support. And you have the range breakout here. Like that's an interesting area in general. So it needs to hold this. Whatever, I'll change it back. It needs to hold this area. And so far what it did, retest support and closed above support. So if this in the next 4 days shows some more strength, right? You have a nice shakeout into support, and then you held support here, right? So that's one to watch. If you see any strength and you want to be positioned in WeChain, like some people want to, some people like the project. I mean, I've been in WeChain back in I think it was end of 17, like when they pretty much launched. They just started out dumping like crazy, and I got in pretty nicely. And then I saw like some paid group leaders shill it, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm just gonna sell it. And I sold it for like a 3x, 4x, bought pretty much the exact bottom, just got flooded out by like pump and dumpers shilling it, and then it just kept going up, and I was like, fuck. But yeah, I mean, if you like the project, this is the area to watch. If it starts closing back below here, I just get out of the way and wait for it to close back above there. And if you're like, okay, but why is this so important, and why is not like the range high so important? Same story again. Strong support, weaker support. You don't want to see the strong support get broken on a closing basis, right? In this case, this is perfect because you actually have like the strong support gets broken. Everyone that gets in early gets rolled over, and then you go into weaker support and you get buying there, and then you actually start closing back above the strong support. So I don't dislike this as long as it can actually hold like 100 sats, pretty much a little bit above. If it can't, that's bad news. Hey Don, did we do ETH today? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. I gotta say, and this is what the one that makes me cautious on pretty much all the altcoins in general, ETH kind of looks really shitty. And I mean, that's an easy fix, right? If the ETH bulls just would be so kind to kind of just put on the afterburners, get this back above 400. I mean, that's obviously going to go higher, and then at least, I think, 500 to 600, if not for the range high, right? But in this case, right now, what this looks like, you have the breakdown here. You have a retest with a shakeout above. You fail that breakout, and then you have a bearish retest down here. So in this case, this just looks like break above an important level, shake everyone out, break back below it, retest it on the bearish side, and then just sell off. And it's rounding out pretty nicely too, right? So not a big fan of ETH, USD anyway. That would change above 400, which always sucks to say because then you're paying up, right? But in this case, I wouldn't mind paying up. And if you're looking for deep dips, I think this support is actually the one that you want to be looking for wicks at, just based on the fact that you already dipped into the support twice, right? So if you're looking for strong dips, like if it just wicks in here, it's probably gonna trigger all the stop losses and then start trading below them. And I think then you can go wick catching into the 260, 270 area. But yeah, if it starts trading back above 400, that's obviously invalidated. And I wouldn't necessarily want to be like looking aggressively for shorts, just based on the fact that this just been mega rally, right? I've been looking for shorts here the first time it entered here into the monthly resistance. Didn't get any trigger, right? And yeah. Wouldn't want to short now that we've broken out of that range on a higher time frame basis, right? But generally, the monthly isn't looking too pretty either, because it's pretty much the same thing. Break out into rejection. And the good thing is, in this case, you have weekly and monthly confluence. Those wicks though, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like the wicks, when you see these wicks, you could say, okay, that's strong buying, or you could say that's bigger people trying to get out of their positions in an illiquid market, right? I mean, the wick kind of argument is always difficult to judge. Even more so if it's a wick, a deep down wick, right? If you wanna kind of make the argument for strong wicks, let's say this goes down, you have this kind of candle, right? Excuse my candle drawing, this is terrible, but this is a candle, right? And then you get a wick, and this closes screen, like that's a strong candle if it has follow through the upside. Jesus Christ, I can't deal with this. This is too ugly. We'll just look at the actual chart, right? So you have a strong wick here, and then you have strong follow through. That's very different from having a strong wick to the upside. I mean, in this case, you actually had some follow through as well, but it's very different from having a wick and then just going sideways and then having another wick. That's something that you see more on lower time frames. We can go back and I can show you what I mean. This is even on lower time frame. I remember like before this breakdown. Let's actually look back. I remember that well because I traded it. I was like, okay, everyone is buying the SFP after SFP after SFP, right? So in this case, right, you got wicks to the downside, and you take out that wick, and then you trade higher. You don't really get any follow through from that, and then you have this wick. And you know, people are like, holy shit, these wicks, people are buying this hardcore, right? But what this actually means is people are getting the fuck out on margin exchanges or like somewhere, and other people haven't caught up to that fact yet. And then you get another wick and another wick and another wick, and you eventually just get complete collapse. So, I mean, you have these kind of situations where you massively wick and you break down regardless. So there's bullish and bearish wicks. It's really hard to judge which are which. But in general, when you get like this kind of, like when you get SFPs, what a lot of people call them anyway, that just keep on getting taken out, that's bearish, it's not bullish. So in the case of ETH, you can make the argument both ways. So far, we really haven't taken out any of the lows. So it would be fine taking them out once. What would not be fine is trading back here and then taking out again and taking out again, because then you start like really looking for rollover, and that's not good. But yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that this is strong buying, and I don't know yet. I just know like a lot of ETH bulls been kind of getting off the wagon lately. So yeah. Why is Tether not in your list? I mean, I think it's somewhere. Yeah, there it is. It's just been like I haven't really been trading it much. So this was my moon target. Like it was like this breaks the range high, it's going to moon target. And looks laughably small now, right? But it's a pretty big move. But yeah, it's in an area where I can't really do anything with it. I mean, you can buy these, you can sell these. I mean, what am I supposed like to say about this? Like, there's no technical setup there. You can just FOMO buy it and pray, or you can just hold it and pray. For me, there's not a trade there. And I'm not an investor, right? So there's nothing for me to do with this. The trade was break out of range high, take it into resistance here, or take it into resistance here. That was the trade. And that trade is done. So there's not that much more for me to do with it. And yeah, if you're an investor in this kind of stuff, I mean, that's all well and good, right? And you can just hold it. I can't do anything with it. Don, would you mind to explain how to play stop losses on Bitmex? What do you mean? Like the actual process or where to put them? You can do that in a separate video. I don't think it's gonna be in this one. Holy shit, there's so many. Whatever this is, EGLD. Probably not on TradingView. It is. There's some new ones that I don't even know. What the fuck? Oh, Jesus. No, this is not what I expected when I see people shilling it in my mentions. What the fuck? Okay. Well, I mean, from the limited info that I have on this, right? For 1, 2, 3 drives down, right? So you have this kind of pattern. The one thing, like, and I mean, usually what you're looking for is the first push being the strongest, the second one being a little weaker, the third one being a little weaker, right? In this case, second push to the downside was 50%, and then this one 40%, and the first one, I mean, I don't know if you can even, that was probably a listing one, but the first one was 60%. Like, if you're an aggressive kind of trader, you can trade these things. The thing is, you don't really have any way to know where to start buying, right? So these are the ones that you have to kind of autistically look at the order books, look at everything. And whenever you have these kind of charts that make new lows, and you know, okay, you should find like support somewhere. So you can kind of measure this. You look like, okay, this was the previous dump, 50%. The other one, like I said earlier, roughly 60%, right? So you're looking for like somewhere between a 40 and 50% dump, right? So this dump 40% here. So you know, okay, in this kind of area, 50% down here, and I know that's a lot of difference, right? So in this kind of area, I'm expecting a bounce. If you're bullish on this, I know nothing about this, but if you're bullish on this, right? So like, because I want to see bounces, like sell-offs that get weaker and weaker, right? And then you can kind of get like a squeeze to the upside. So you're looking for a buy in there, and then you just look at the order books. You're looking, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can kind of help you out there. And even better than looking at the order books, you're just looking at other altcoins and see if they find support. And then when you see other altcoins find support, you can look for buys on these coins, because these bounces usually relatively significant because they just keep on dumping really hard. So yeah, this could bounce nicely. The first kind of resistance is up here, like this. Actually, the first resistance is in here, right? So the cautious trader, like let's say you bought somewhere in here, could already take that off in here. Not sure if that risk would warrant taking the trade, but some people are really good at that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's how I used to trade. I used to trade these over, like whenever you had overextension and panic starting to set in, then I would be looking for like massive bounces. It's what I did with Nano back in the day. And I remember someone asked for Nano. Like, there was no reason for this to bounce here, right? Like, no technical reason based on support resistances, because there's not really that support in there. I know there's older charts, but like just based on the fact that this was the chart that was traded the most, there's not really like anything historic, but I just knew like this was capitulation, right? And then I look for overextension to the downside, just buy that and play the bounce, right? But then you get the fuck out on the bounce usually. And that's what I did here. But the funny thing is, like, I bought pretty close to the low and sold here and felt like God, and it doubled. Because, I mean, that was for me already almost a double. And then from there, it still doubled. So, I mean, you can play these. I don't really mind playing that kind of stuff. It's just don't go all in, obviously, and know your limits. Like, know if you're good at that kind of stuff. And you obviously need to know the project as well, because you don't want to be buying into a rug pull. So you need to at least know if it's going to rug pull on you or not. So yeah, that's that coin. That's how I played. Like back in the day, I used to play them. I don't play these that much anymore. I really should get back into it. Kind of had this fallout with Binance, so I was like avoiding Binance. Didn't really trade that much. But given the fact that we've had actually like some nice moves, like these are pretty, like these are plenty volatile to trade, I think. So might get back into trading these with fund size. I wouldn't go deep in those, but yeah. 79 minutes streaming, going strong, Don. Yeah, I appreciate it. Like, I feel kind of bad ending it early because a lot of people asked for stuff. And I don't know if everyone that asked for stuff is actually in here, but wouldn't want to disappoint anyone. I'm not going to be able to go through all of these, but like at least some, right? And I mean, this is kind of random, like the order in which it shows. So I feel like everyone had a fair chance. So, yeah. Nice stream, Don. I have to go. See you guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Matt. Bye-bye, mate. So yeah, I'll do still no Litecoin. I actually had Litecoin. Like I bought Litecoin. And fucking hell, this is so stupid. So Litecoin, right? My Litecoin story is this. I bought Litecoin. I think there's a few narratives going for the bigger coins, like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, and like those bigger ones, XRP. So you have swell coming up for XRP. You have Litecoin finally doing something fundamentally again, right, with the Wimble stuff. And in general, like you had these big coins just kind of lag behind. So I think there's a catch-up plate to be had. It's just very difficult to time it, right? So I just saw that the rumors and stuff for the Wimble stuff and Litecoin picked up. In general, the market was looking pretty nice to kind of take some altcoin trades, because when you have Bitcoin be correlated to the traditional market so much, people tend to avoid trading it, including myself. Like I don't want to trade Bitcoin when we're just basically trading the SPX. Because if you think about it, right, you have your Bitcoin edge. Like if you have like a massive edge in the traditional markets, you probably trade the traditional markets. I don't have a massive edge in those markets. So I just stick to the one market that I know how to play really well, and that's crypto, right? I mean, I've been consistently profitable over the last few years with crypto, just trading it, not even investing, but just trading it. So I stick with crypto, generally speaking. So we get correlation of almost like almost full correlation, basically, between like the traditional markets and crypto. So why would I trade crypto when my edge is smaller in the traditional markets than it is, or like Bitcoin in this case, than it is in Bitcoin? So like when the correlation goes up and I don't have a strong read on the traditional markets, I just tend to avoid it. And I think most people do. So that makes the switch to altcoins relatively easy, because those can move without impacting Bitcoin too much, right? So I was like, okay, pretty nice. Bought some Litecoin in here. It pumped relatively nicely, and then we had the Bitmex news, right? So had to close my positions, getting off of Bitmex, closed it, got pretty lucky there, and then yeah, it just kept on going up, and then I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense to hold, so sold the spot stuff that I had in here, and then mega pump the next day. So yeah, shit happens. I still don't dislike the setup, but for me, it really has to start closing above here. Like I had the nice setup, the relatively nice one before the Bitmex close. Well, the Bitmex isn't closed, but you get the point, right? You don't want to be like in crypto in general. I tend to avoid stuff that shows the first signs of smoke, right? So let's say you see anything suspicious about anything at all that you think actually makes sense to be suspicious about, you get the fuck out. We've had plenty of kind of opportunities, or like in general, like we've had plenty of situations where stuff smoked and then didn't play out, and that's fine, right? But Kritriga, for example, for the Canadians of you, I mean, there was plenty of shady shit going on. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is a little bit shady, but I mean, I've been using this exchange for years. Probably gonna be fine. And then it was gone. And I don't think Bitmex is gonna disappear, but like I said, there's smoke, there might be fire, I don't know. So I just get the fuck out and trade somewhere else. So yeah, got my setups got ruined by that. And now I wanna see some confirmation, like go back up. Give me the inverse head and shoulders here, and I'd be more than happy to play it. Even more so given the fact, like if you think about it, waiting in this case, even if you're buying the breakout above this red box, just costs you 10%. And where's the target realistically? I mean, if it puts in a bottom formation here, the target is easily up here, if not into this resistance. Because, I mean, this is washed up. I mean, already taking all these highs. You could argue we go up here, but even if we go up there, right? If it plays up bullishly, you have this kind of situation where you kind of do something like this, go up here, and then where do you go from there? Like maybe find some resistance, find support in here again, and then it looks even more bullish, right? So I don't mind paying up for this because right now it's technically a bearish retest. I was willing to take that risk before Bitmex closed down. For me, or like it didn't close down, need to say it again, but before Bitmex kind of got in trouble for some of the stuff that they've been doing. So right now I'm kind of more risk off, so I'm waiting for this to play out. Will you do more later on? I mean, let's see. Did you guys enjoy this kind of stuff? Do you want to see this more often, less often? I know that there's less viewers around, but like for the viewers that are around, like, do you want to see more of this, less of this, more of the traditional stuff? Because I'm not gonna go through the entire list. It's impossible. I've gone through some of them. You should be kind of able to see what I'm getting at. So yeah. I like both. Mix is good. That's what I'm thinking too. So next Wednesday is probably gonna be like a walkthrough of like the majors, Bitcoin again. But the week after we could do this again. Maybe less of the smaller DeFi stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to see more of the DeFi stuff. Some people say less. Like that kind of stuff is hard to chart. That's the main problem. DeFi is trash to chart. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Big DeFi coins is fine. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine by me. But yeah, I think that's actually plenty for today. Went 90 minutes. It's way longer than I usually do. And I've been tired before I started this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different than usual. A little bit more on the trading side for altcoins. The main reason why I haven't been like trading altcoins was the main thing that I've been doing in 17 and 18, right? The reason why I haven't been doing it too much is just because everything's been bearish, right? Or like the general landscape for the altcoins have been bearish. If that changes again, and I mean the DeFi stuff was a nice kind of brief breath of fresh air, whatever. Nice change of pace, but for me it wasn't like significant enough to kind of dabble into it. But it's at least a sign of what we might be getting in the future. I hope so anyway, because this is fun to trade. But yeah, so far, like technically this is still all bearish, and you should kind of risk manage accordingly. So just wanted to get that out there. And I'm not hating on all these altcoins. If they get any bullish setups, I'm going to be in with you guys again. So yeah. It's interesting hearing your thought process. Don't agree all the time, but it's fun nevertheless. I mean, if we would all agree, right, that'd be, wouldn't work. In trading, you never agree with everyone. So, has he looked into Ocean or BAT? Nope. Sorry. I'll try to do it next time. But yeah, thanks for coming by. Thanks a lot for to Bybit for sponsoring the show. I mean, most of the altcoins that we've been trading, you can't even trade on their platform, and they still let me do this stuff. That's kind of like a really nice thing that they're doing. Don't really put any restrictions on the content that I provide. So yeah, big shout out to them for that. And yeah, thanks for coming by. If you want to come by on Friday, it's gonna be me again. Actually, it's gonna be solo me again. So we can decide on what to do. Maybe I bring Loomdart on. I'll think about it if Loomdart wants to come on anyway. But yeah, it's gonna be me on Friday, not Cred, and yeah, we'll see what we do. So yeah, thanks for coming by. See you guys Friday. Bye bye.